All right, we're recording, so we'll get this thing going. Hello, welcome back to Fuel, Fire, and Freedom, the rowdiest car podcast on the market. We are. Oh, I'm going to start over. That was terrible. We're just going to cut this all out. I'm like, my mind just blanked. But hello and welcome to Fuel, Fire, and Freedom, the rowdiest car podcast on the market. If you're here, oh my gosh, I had this all planned out. Why can't I talk about it?
Should we get you a teleprompter?
No, I don't want to have to use it. I just wanted to be able
Be
to.
like Joe Biden, and I said that one time to that lady.
I wanted to be able to come out naturally. My mind absolutely just blanks. Let's see here. All right.
The United States of
All right. Hello, welcome to Fuel, Fire, and Freedom, the Triple F podcast. This is the rowdiest car podcast on the market. We're just three guys that are here having a good time discussing our favorite hobby, which is cars, freedom, everything underneath that banner. We love to talk about cars, trucks, motors, firearms, hunting, you name it, the works. But I'm Brandon Bolach. Joined with me are my two good friends and professional mechanics, Spencer Medley and Jordan Hodap. How we doing today?
Doing good. Oh, dandy.
Oh, dandy. Oh, dandy. You know, I've got a bone to pick. I know we're going to get into Jordan's deals and disasters later when we look at some marketplace stuff. But of course, I'm laying in bed this morning and I'm, scrolling on marketplace and I come across, I think it was a 1975 Dodge Ram Charger. And it was lifted. It looked really cool, but it looks like it's from the 1970s. It's rusted. It needs a lot of body work. It needs a paint job. It's definitely not restored. It needs a lot of work to it. It probably runs like crap because it's a mid-70s Mopar product. And this person wanted $9,500 for it. And that was down from the $11,000 that he initially was asking for. So he had knocked the price down from 11 to 9,500. And I'm sitting there going, this guy's out of his mind if he thinks that he's like actually going to get this much money for something that needs a ton of work, probably almost that much money to get it to where it would run reliably and be in a great shape. And I thought about back when we were in high school when Spencer, do you remember how much Jake bought that 95 Bronco for? I feel like it was $1,000.
I can't remember what he bought that Bronco for. I know it wasn't, he got a pretty good deal on it. So
it was so cheap. And I was thinking about this, even 5 years ago, this Ram Charger would be maybe $4,000, $5,000. Now it's $9,500. What is going on? These people are out of their minds.
Mopar.
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 It did have a 440 in it. It had a 440 in it.
So you're spending $9,500 a year to keep that thing running.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we'll get into that later, but that was just something that came across my, marketplace this morning. And of course I still saved it because, it's a pretty unique and pretty cool vehicle, but I know that it would require a ton of work and I just don't think it's worth that much, but who knows? Maybe someone out there will buy it for that much. And if you're super into Ram Chargers, you feel free to email me at brandon@fuelfirefreedom.com and I'll send you the link. All right. So today we've got a couple of topics for you. The first one we're going to talk about is towing with a half ton. And the premise of this topic is, how heavy can you realistically expect to tow with your half ton? Because new half tons have some pretty wild ratings for towing. And I'll get into those tow ratings in just a second, but that's what this first topic is going to be about. Who wants to start us off with their thoughts on towing with a half ton? Because I know you guys have thoughts, and I'm sure that it bounces between, when do you upgrade to a 3/4 or 1 ton for towing?
Well, I have towed with a half ton. It's not a newer half ton by any means, but we have a 2010 F-150 Coyote 4-wheel drive that we it's actually my aunt's truck that I've used a couple times to try and tow with, and we I will say that trying to tow a car with that thing was kind of miserable. We had the load in question was a open deck car hauler with a 66 Mustang on it, and the towed 1,000 miles. I gotta say, you could feel it. You could feel the car. You could feel the trailer. Really, the half ton market is so vast as far as how many people they're trying to hit with this pickup. Um, they're they're essentially trying to sell a minivan with a trailer hitch.
Yeah,
Everybody it's America. Everybody wants a big pickup truck and be
as they
Mister
should, as they
be
should.
be every fucking blue blooded American that they are. But they it is an old instructor used to tell me a dual purpose vehicle is good at none of it. Okay. It's if you're gonna build a purpose built vehicle, you gotta have one thing in mind. It can't be one thing and another. So the half ton suspensions have just gotten a lot softer. Um Along with the transmissions have gotten a lot better as far as trying to accommodate for fuel economy, but I think it also suffers within the realm of towing. Um, so there's good and bad to the new half tons, but I don't think that the towing is really a factor in the half tons anymore. Um, they're of course their towing capacities have gone way up. We talked about Jordan's uh Power Stroke is 7.3 having the same towing capacity as most half tons nowadays. Which I would trust I would trust a OBS Power Stroke to tow that Mustang 1,000 miles a lot better than that half ton did. I bet you I'd probably be more happy towing with an older truck, um, with a weaker towing capacity compared to a newer half ton.
Yeah, it's hard to say because, I mean, you look at a 2025 F-150, you're sitting at 13.5 towing capacity, whereas my 97, it's like 12.5. If you compare the two, the F-150's got bigger brakes. It's got a box frame. It's same trailer brakes. I mean, it's hard to justify, like, based on those two right
Hmm.
there. You would think, oh yeah, bigger brakes, everything else. But yeah, like you said, the suspension's so much softer. You just feel everything. You feel every ounce of weight on that trailer.
They all
Do you
sag.
think that the weight? Yeah, they do all sag. The weight of the vehicle has to be a factor in play too when you're towing, right? If the half tons they weigh less, like a new F-150, I know that the weights of the new half tons have also shot up, but as the payload and towing capacities, but a new F-150's got to still weigh less than your 97 F-350 Power Stroke,
Yeah.
and when you have more weight up front, that also the weight behind you isn't moving you around as much.
Yeah, yeah, kind of the recoil factor there.
So
Uh,
I've got some numbers, and this is I looked up 2024 numbers, and these, when you look up max towing numbers, usually these trucks are usually they're two-wheel drive, they're minimized cab, so as low as a cab as they can go. The reason is that they're trying to make the vehicle because there's the frame is a certain gross combined weight rating, and they're trying to minimize however much weight is in the on the actual truck itself. So these numbers I'm about to run through, these are usually two-wheel drive single cab trucks, maybe a double cab or something like that. So keep that in mind. If you want a four-wheel drive truck, those numbers are going to come down. With the F-150, it maxes out. It is the king of the bunch. With the EcoBoost V6 and the max trailer towing package, you can get a F-150 that can tow up to 14,000 pounds. The Silverado is next. If you get the Silverado with a 6.2 and a double cab with the max trailer package, or the diesel, the 3-liter diesel 2-wheel drive with the max trailer package, you can tow 13,300. The GMC Sierra, surprisingly, I would have thought it'd be the same as the Chevy, but it's not. The GMC Sierra tops out as 13,000, and the Ram, the most bare bones basic Ram you can get, so a Tradesman or a Bighorn 2-wheel drive quad cab, and the Hemi will get you 12,750. And the Toyota, the brand new Toyota with the twin turbocharged V6, if you have SR5 double cab 2-wheel drive, you can get 12,000 out of that. And then you get the Nissan Titan, which I think is discontinued finally. But the Nissan Titan, it hasn't really improved in about 15 years, and it tops out at 9,323 with a 2-wheel drive king cab. And if you want to put a 4-wheel drive king cab, that comes out to 9,200 pounds, and that's with the 5.6 liter V8. So it's interesting that the Nissan, I know they've upgraded it, they revised it, but it must have about the same frame as the old truck, is my guess, because
Sure.
but those numbers, like, those are staggering numbers. Those are big numbers for a half ton. Do you think, I mean, do you buy an F-150 EcoBoost with a max trailer towing package, throw a gooseball hitch
No.
in the back and tow with it up to 12,000 pounds? It seems outrageous, but maybe people are out there doing that.
I think the market for the half tons is pulling like a travel trailer. Not necessarily doing or working the truck, like car hauler, equipment hauler, something like that. I've seen people do it with a dump trailer and a skid in the bed with a half ton, but I really think the market's just so people can tow their travel trailer, maybe a small toy hauler that has a single or a 2-seater side by side in the back. You're still pushing it at that weight limit, but
Yeah,
that's
that is
where
the
they're
maximum.
going. Yeah.
Or your
So
capacity is a maximum.
Mhm.
I've got a story,
Just
because
because it can do it doesn't mean you should do it.
yeah, and I think that's the takeaway that people should consider out of this segment is, yeah, your truck is rated for that much, but if you are going to regularly be towing over 10,000 pounds, you should be in a 3/4 ton or a 1-ton truck. But if you're towing your camper every summer to go, on some adventures, or towing a boat, or occasionally you're moving, so you have a big trailer, or it's wintertime and you got a snowmobile trailer, I think a half ton is totally acceptable for those kinds of things.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep. Yep. Gotta take your
Now,
minivan out camping.
so, a quick story. I was out with my buddy and I. We were gonna go hunting, and this was when I was out in Washington State, and he had a 30-foot bumper pole camper trailer, and I don't know how much this thing weighed, but it was not a small, camper trailer. It was pretty big, had slide outs. I'm assuming around 8,000 pounds is my guess. And we were driving this thing, and we were going up the Columbia River Gorge, and then we were heading into Kickatas County. I probably mispronounced that. Beautiful area of Washington State on the eastern side. And from the Columbia River Gorge, you got to climb out from the river and go up pretty steep to kind of get on this plateau of these old lava fields. And I'm behind him in my Ram, just following him. And he's got I think it's a 2022 F-150 EcoBoost, and he has the Max trailer towing package. And I'm telling you, that F-150 cruised up that hill like it was nothing. And I was impressed. I thought his truck would struggle getting up that hill. Maybe we'd be hazards kind of off to the side getting past, but it just flew up that hill 70 miles an hour like it was nobody's business. And I was surprised. It was very impressive to see a half ton do that.
Yeah, they make good power. It's kind of going back to the comparison thing. An EcoBoost is 400 horsepower. My 7.3 is 215 on a good day.
I was gonna say 180.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I was just dogging on the new transmissions. To have your 8 and 10 speeds is the idea is to stay in the torque range. Wind towing. However, I'm not sure if I really haven't gotten into a lot of the newer transmissions just yet. As far as seeing any kind of troubles with them. However, I just for stuffing a lot of stuff in a small box, I have a feeling that we're going to start seeing a lot of just quality control issues. Trying to basically achieve that goal of keeping within that same torque range while towing.
Yeah, I mean, the 10-speed does pretty good at that in the F-150s. But yeah, they start to see clutches go pretty quick. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. There's just a lot more moving parts.
The Fast Lane Truck, that YouTube channel, they do a pretty good job of showing the differences between the different trucks running up the Eisenhower tunnel and towing. And they usually try to max these trucks out and see how well they're doing. And I remember first watching these videos, I don't know, maybe they've been doing them for a while. I want to say about 10 years or so. And they base the run. There's a certain timed run. I think it's 8 minutes. So they try to, if the truck can do the run with the max, towing capacity at 8 minutes, it's a perfect run to them. And about 10 years or so, these trucks, they were not doing it. They couldn't get up there fast enough. They usually were, maxed out. They just couldn't get up that fast. And now it seems like all these trucks are able to do it easily, even though they're pulling so much weight up that hill. And at that elevation, that's no joke. I imagine part of the F-150's ability is that forced induction with the EcoBoost. The 5-liter, I like the 5-liter more than the EcoBoost. If I was to buy an F-150, I'd buy a 5-liter. But you can't deny that the EcoBoost tows better than the 5-liter.
Yeah, it does. I'm the opposite. I'd buy an EcoBoost over a 5-liter.
Well, the 5-liter wouldn't stay stock in my truck. It'd get a big old Whipple on it or something.
After doing 4 timing chains and EcoBoost the last 2 weeks, I'm not going to buy an EcoBoost. I'm sorry. The only time I'm going to buy that EcoBoost is if it's in an old Taurus show. Okay. I ain't towing with it. I'm going around town and bebopping on it. But I will admit that the EcoBoost does have some pretty dang good power for the size engine that it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
See, I'm the opposite. I like doing the phasers on those. Phasers and timing.
You like doing that?
Yeah, when you do several of them a week for years, it's not bad.
Yeah, I'm sure you've gotten quite good at doing that work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and interesting. So I went back. We already talked about the 2024 numbers. So I went back and looked up half tons from 2010, and the F-150 still maxes out. It is the leader of the pack. What do you guys think the F-150 maxed out at?
10.5.
11,300
Dead
with
center
the
of our two guesses. Nice.
with the max trailer package, and that's with the 5.4 liter V8. Blast from the past. But what's
2010's the first
interesting
year of
is,
the EcoBoost, if I remember right. Is it not? Is it 2010 or 2011? That's it.
and surprisingly, if you take away that max trailer towing package, depending on how you set that truck up, it might max out with the same engine. It might max out at 7,700.
Mhm.
So
Which is realistically what most people are driving.
yes, yeah,
Is
most
a Lariat or something like that, 4-wheel drive.
yeah, I think. So what's the difference in the max trailer trailer towing package? I assume it's gears.
It's usually gears, rear spring rate, stuff like that.
Extra coolers, maybe an extra like a transmission cooler.
Yeah, they do. Certain models have a different trans cooler, different radiator.
Yeah.
Depending on package, but I don't know.
Yeah.
The
Well,
frame's the same, brakes are the same.
yeah. So Silverado, what do you guys think the Silverado could do? Because Silverado's the next best.
All I know about Silverados is everybody at the local GM dealership up here is they're doing a lot of work on the 4-cylinders. All these guys are buying half tons of 4-cylinders and beating them like 3/4 tons, and they're going, I don't know what happened. Why did it blow up?
Yeah. Or they've got 10 parking spots full of black box transmission sitting out back.
Yeah, or 6.2s waiting.
Yeah. My guess is 10.8.
I'm going to go 10.801.
Jeopardy rules. Well, based on Jeopardy rules, Jordan wins because it's 10-7.
Oh, I was
Damn
so
it.
close.
With the 6.2. I didn't realize they had the 6.2 that far back. But 6.2 has been around a lot longer than I expected. Now, if you got the 5.3, which I think most Silverados on the road are probably the 5.3. It maxes out at 8,400. And so keep in mind that once again, these are 2-wheel drive, bare bones models, basic cabs. So if you have a crew cab loaded, truck, your numbers are going to be even less. The next most capable truck and is not the Ram, it's the Toyota Tundra, and that has the 5.7 liter iForce V8, which is a very good engine. It maxes out anywhere between 9,800 and 10,800.
It's not bad.
That's pretty respectable. I think I would, I would feel comfortable towing about 8,000, 9,000 pounds in that Tundra.
Yeah, I probably would too.
And then you got the Nissan Titan with the same 5.6 with, if you get the tow package on that truck, you can tow 9,000 to 9,500 pounds. If you don't get the tow package, you can only tow up to 6,500 pounds.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot for a half ton. Not a lot. And then the Ram, good old Ram, with the hammy, 8,500 to 9,100, depending on if you get a two-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive. So four-wheel drive truck, you're looking at 8,500 pounds.
Still not terrible.
Not terrible, but I don't know if I'd go more than 7,000 pounds on that truck.
I'd try it once.
If it wasn't mine, I'd try it all day.
Rental truck. Rental truck. It's just, so that's, in 15 years, these numbers have really shot up, and that's
Pretty much doubled.
impressive. So I can't help but think that maybe our mindset is still back in 2010, that you shouldn't be towing this heavy with a half ton because the truck just can't handle it.
My mindset's way back 20. My mind stopped at 2010. And all this new stuff is so absurd to me. It's like, wait a minute, we got 10 speeds now. Wait a minute, we got half tons that are doing 13.5. Wait a minute, calm down. Back in my day, hell, freaking 2010 was 15 years ago, boys. I can't have a hard time comprehending that.
Yeah, don't we all? Don't we all? It's, yeah. I got nothing to.
I still trust the old 7.3 to tow way more than it's rated for.
I feel like for the same cost, okay, if I'm going to go and buy an F-150 today and say, I want a XLT, crew cab, whatever it's a 7-foot bed that they still offer. I can't remember what they offer
I think it maxes
anymore.
at 6.
But if I was to go and try and buy a new XLT, I can't remember what the starting cost of an XLT is. Is it something like 42 now? Or 38?
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. It's pretty high up.
I'll go buy a 2011 F-250, F-350, and I'll have a really nice one at 40 grand, you know. If that's my main goal is work and towing, I'm not going to look at a half ton. Jordan knows that we've had plenty of people in agriculture. We've had farmers. We've had a couple other professions, some kind of construction guys, where they go and buy half tons and they put a B&W turnover ball in them. And then I just look at them going, oh my God, what kind of trailer are you putting on this poor truck?
Yeah.
Then seeing it the next couple months with transmission issues, overheating issues, just thinking, man, I don't understand why you even thought this was a good idea, but to each their own, you know. The biggest epidemic I've been seeing lately, I say epidemic dramatically, is seeing guys buying the Rangers and the Colorados and the Canyons and thinking that they can tow with them. Like
Right.
really putting the loads on them. And of course there's a lot of guys around here that use them to haul their little garden tractors and stuff like that. But to see a bigger load on even the smaller trucks there's a really wild concept that truck's a truck and I can hook whatever I want to and it's gonna be just fine. But no, the lighter truck market I think is more aimed towards mall crawlers. They're really good looking minivans in my unprofessional opinion. And so
you're saying I should market a gooseneck kit for a Ford Maverick?
Someone will buy it. I can guarantee it. Someone will buy it. So someone's going to be like, well, shit, if they offer that means I can tow with it, you know, just because they can, like you said, just because you can, I mean, you should.
Yeah.
You know, I know someone that bought a new GMC Canyon, and they have a pretty significant pontoon boat. that they tow with the GMC. They tow with the GMC Canyon, this pontoon boat, and it's a big pontoon boat. However, pontoon boats aren't all that heavy. I definitely think, and he just tows it back and forth from the lake.
I bet the trailer's still pretty heavy.
You know, I don't know what the exact setup is, but I doubt it's more than 5,000 pounds. And I don't think he's overworking that truck to occasionally tow that back and forth 20 miles, 30 miles. I don't think he's doing it. I don't think that's too much on that truck. Or as you would say, Spencer, that minivan.
I'm just saying, I might be a little Baxter Black here, where I when I open the hood of a truck, I want to see the ground underneath. But they when you back from your parking spot, you're not worried about damaging your truck. You're worried about the damage to the other guy's car, you know. But I it's it seems to me like a lot of just newer stuff nowadays is just not built like we expected.
Well, I think we just about beat this topic to death. Jordan, you just want to give us a summary on where what we think about this?
Yeah, like goes back to the just because you can doesn't mean you should topic. I mean, you go to pull 13,000 pounds with an F-150. You're not going to enjoy the way that drives. You're not gonna want to do it again. Especially if you're doing it consistently, regularly. If you're gonna do that, just get yourself a F-350. But it's like you said, just because they're, or was it dual purpose truck is good at none of them.
Yep.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the challenge that I think the automakers are facing, is because, there's a wide array of people that are interested in a half ton.
Yeah.
And they have to try and cater to all of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an impossible task.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on, we have electric vehicles versus hybrid vehicles versus internal combustion engines. This is, I think, the debate of where our future lies, what makes sense, what's better, where do we see the future of automobiles, and what makes sense for the future of that.
I think, I don't know, it's hard to say. The EV, especially like the EV truck market, they have such a good acceleration. They're fun to drive. It's not something I'm going to buy, but they're pretty fun to drive. Not going to lie.
Those eyebrows are getting pretty high there, Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
I
If
mean,
it
if
runs
I
more
want a
than
golf
12
cart, I'm
volts,
gonna
I
go
don't
buy a
want
golf
it.
cart. if I want a golf cart, I'm gonna go buy a golf cart. I think that what we're seeing right now in our world is we're seeing the internal combustion engine is we're running out of ideas to a lot of manufacturers are trying to make the gas engine more efficient. Of course, if we were, I'm going to put on my tin. I need to go find my my roll of tin foil here and go ahead and start putting it on. We started looking at alternative fuels to try and make the hippies happy. We're trying to get to a point where these we're seeing a lot of diesel style technology in gasoline engines, where we're seeing forced induction, we're seeing direct injection. Well, that's been around for a long time. We're getting to a point that even the emissions are starting to mimic the diesel market. A diesel engine of course is way more efficient as far as burning fuel compared to a gasoline engine. Of course, the diesel is going to have a lot of a hard tax from social media and a lot of media and marketing, just because of the kids on YouTube that like to modify them and blow black smoke. That's not very efficient. That looks like raw fuel dumping out the damn tailpipe. It's modified. Yes, you can also modify a diesel to become even more efficient than what it is out of the factory. But then again, you got congressmen going, I don't like that bus spewing out black smoke. I'm gonna make sure the EPA's got a handle here that my BMW doesn't get no more soot over it, you know. But here again, I digress. We're at a point where we're starting to see the internal combustion engine. We're running out of ideas to make it better. And so I think the EV market is where it's coming into. We're trying to enhance a lot of, like Jordan said, with how great they accelerate and how fun they are to drive. We're trying to enhance the driving experience for the driver, along with trying to deal with outside elements like pollution and essentially other constraints in that size. So
Yeah, I think the hybrid style of propulsion is going to be what takes precedence here going on, because you lose most of your efficiency in start and stop, traffic, whatever, stoplights, and that's where the electric propulsion excels. Is that zero loaded RPM takeoff? You have the same propulsion torque as you do going 60 miles an hour. So you take away that inefficiency of the gas motor, diesel, whatever, on stop and go traffic. That's the only way we can increase fuel economy requirements to meet all those standards.
I think electric vehicles make sense for a certain section of what people need, a certain
Yeah.
market. And I think internal combustion makes a whole lot of sense for another, consumer, customer. And then I think hybrid, like you said, is probably going to make the most sense for,
For
to
both options.
capture both of those worlds. Where I think electric vehicles make sense. I think electric vehicles make sense if you have a very long daily commute. If you're spending 100 miles a day in a car going back and from work, you live outside the city because you can't afford to live in the city. And so you're on the edge, very far edges, and you have to drive, pretty far. I saw this a lot when I was living in near the Seattle area. People would live very far away from Seattle and have to drive into Seattle. In that sense, electric vehicles, I think, are hands down the best option. They have the least amount of maintenance associated with them, and they're the most efficient in those long daily commutes.
Happens
Internal
when you
com-
get to work and you can't charge it.
well, that's why you need to know how far you're driving. If your one-way distance is 100 miles, you need to understand that you need at least double that capacity plus some extra, and then you need to be able to recharge it every night. And that brings me up to where electric vehicles don't necessarily make sense. And there's two things that come to mind. I have a friend that lives in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is a very old city that pretty much feels, not too far removed from the 1800s in terms of where these buildings are, how close they are together, how narrow these streets are. He can't park in front of his house, which it's a townhouse. He can't park in front of his townhouse every night. He has to park, maybe sometimes a couple blocks over because that's the nearest parking spot where he's able to park. So for him to be able to get like a home charger just doesn't make any sense. Maybe the city's able to install chargers in front of every parking spot, but that's just an excessive amount of infrastructure change. That's expensive, and that's not going to happen, I don't think, anytime soon. Now, the other thing that comes to mind is I have an uncle that lives in the LA area, and he has a very long daily commute. So an electric vehicle you would think would make sense. However, his house is built, I think, sometime in the 1940s or something like that. So its electric system is ungrounded. For him to install a electric vehicle charger in his house, he's going to have to do an excessive amount of electrical work to upgrade that house's electric system to be able to handle that electric upgrade. And so he got a quote for it, and it just didn't make sense. So he ended up with a hybrid vehicle instead. And that makes, I think, a whole lot of sense. Now for a plug-in hybrid or an electric vehicle, it's great for long commutes, but you have to be able to easily install the infrastructure where you can charge it at your house easily. And that is something that I think a lot of these politicians are not considering. There's a couple states like California, and I know Washington was one, and I think there's a couple other they have electric vehicle mandates. So they say after 2035, you can't buy an electric vehicle. And that's just is absurd. It makes absolutely zero sense to mandate 100% because all these people that have an older house, nobody's going to be able to afford, not all these people are going to be able to afford to upgrade the house's electric systems. And some people are probably going to do shady work on the side, and you're going to have electric fires, and that's not what we want. It's just not, it doesn't make sense. Internal combustion is hands down better if you are towing. It is better at towing. It's better. I think we know the formula that works with internal combustion. Nothing beats displacement. There's no replacement for displacement. Forced induction is great. These engines we're getting smaller and smaller engines with more and more forced induction because the EPA and the requirements, fuel requirements are forcing that to happen. Now, interestingly, Trump just rolled back the CAFE standards from, I think it was 50 miles per gallon is what the manufacturer is supposed to get, to down to somewhere in the 30s. So hopefully but we're working we're working these small internal combustion engines harder and harder and harder, which puts extra stress on them. And I don't think you're going to see as much longevity out of these smaller, high pressured, direct injected motors. A direct injection is very efficient in terms of burning fuel, but there's, just like everything, there's pros and cons to it. And one of the cons is you get carbon buildup on the intake, on the valves, because you're not having fuel that's cleaning these valves. And so if you have a direct injection engine, if you're not periodically cleaning your valves, that engine's going to gunk up, it's going to become very inefficient. And you're going to have a lot of problems with it.
Yeah, that's why they went to the dual fuel style.
Yeah, and that lessons learned, right? Do a little bit of both, but hybrid. And then when you get to the hybrid technology, there's different flavors of hybrid. There's your performance hybrids, which I think of like the F-150 Power Boost and the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, where it's not necessarily, that hybrid system is not necessarily there to provide fuel efficiency. While it does a little bit, its bigger purpose is for performance. It is to either increase power for towing or speed, get you off the line faster. The real downside I see with hybrids is paying attention to what battery technology is in the hybrid system. If it's a lithium ion battery, I am not as fond of that as a nickel cobalt battery, like what Toyota uses. Nickel cobalt batteries are cheaper and easier to replace. So if you're looking for a vehicle long term, it makes more sense. And then I do think that that added hybrid system adds an extra complexity to the vehicle itself. So trying to repair it, it starts to really quickly move outside the realm of the average car owner.
And it is. It is. I think a lot of our technology advancing that we have been doing with the automotive world has been going at a skyrocketing pace. I mean, just to think 30 years ago, we we had the IDI, right? Mechanical injection pump. We had pre-combustion chambers and it made on a good day 160, 180 horsepower, but now we have outrageous horsepower numbers compared to then. But there again, we're utilizing new materials. We're utilizing new alloys. We're utilizing new rubbers and gasket materials, and we've gone to more modular building as far as engines go, and different ways to cool it, and it's gotten to a point that there's so much going on that I don't. We have some of the brightest engineers in the world on this stuff, and I have a hard time thinking that they understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
it takes a bright mind to make it, but it makes a bright mind and a lot of time to make it work. And so,
Yeah. And like as far as the hybrid stuff goes, there's different ways to do it too. Like you have your somewhat traditional hybrid style in the F-150s, the Toyotas, um, where it's stacked in between your engine transmission, provides electric drive, and it can run on solely electric drive. You have the hybrid system in the Ram e-Torx, which is essentially a belt-driven propulsion, which doesn't add a whole lot, but in their minds, it adds enough for them to meet CAFE. And then you have the extended range options, right? So those are range extenders. That's going to be your Scout, that sort of style of EV hybrid,
it's a train
where your
car.
primary, yeah, it's a train car. You, yeah, your primary propulsion, your only propulsion is electric,
Yeah.
but you have a gas engine on board to charge said electric system.
I reserved a Scout with the range extender
Mm-hmm.
package, but I'm leaning towards. I'm in this mental debate internally about, do I actually want the extended range version, or do I want just the EV version when that comes out? And I'll tell you, you guys clearly approve. No, it's an easy decision for you guys apparently, but for me, my thought process is, what am I actually going to be using this vehicle for, and how often am I going to be needing that range extender? I think if this was my only vehicle, which you guys know it's not going to be my only vehicle, I think the extended version, it probably makes a lot of sense because it gets you the most versatility, and if you want to do long road trips, it gives you that capability. But because it's not my only vehicle, and I probably would use my truck for long road trips, I'm trying to think about how would I actually use this vehicle. And most of the time I think about just commuting or getting around town, maybe doing a couple, shooting down to Salt Lake City or something like that. And with that, because of that, I think honestly just the EV makes more sense because I don't have to maintain this gas motor on this thing, and it's simpler, for lack of a better term. It's simpler, and there's less things that I have to worry about potentially going to fault on this vehicle. And that motor generator is going to take up some space somewhere on the vehicle. I don't really know where yet, and I'm curious to see where they're going to do that. But you have now you're adding a fuel tank somewhere and a motor generator at some point, probably up front, which is going to take away a significant amount of storage space that you would
Well, I
get.
mean, they're Scouts. The Scouts are owned by Volkswagen now. They might go in the back. Who knows?
Yeah. Might be air cooled.
It might be an air-cooled generator.
Air-cooled motor generator.
No, I see what you're saying, but I don't know. I'm more of a think of the worst case scenario sort of thing. So take your drive to work. Say you have 80 to 100 mile drive or something. Maybe not even to work, just a destination.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your range is 250, 300 miles and you're going on a 100-mile trip one way. Okay, so you get there, you find out there's no place for me to charge. Okay, so now I've got 200 miles left to go back. Coming back, we lose a tire. Okay, maybe it's negative 10 degrees outside too. So your range is already reduced by 30%.
Right.
Okay, so now you've lost a tire. Your range is reduced. You may not have enough to get back.
No, you're absolutely right. But I probably would get close. And then I'd call
close.
and then I'd call my somebody, a friend to come tell me.
Call a guy with an
Phone a friend with a wheel truck.
engineer.
Yeah. Well,
It's an engine that warms itself up.
Yeah, that's the crux of. I mean, I've seen the videos of the F-150 Lightnings parked on the side of the road. Some guy's got a generator in the back running to charge the F-150 so that he can get the dang thing home. Part of that is planning.
So why not just have it built in?
Because
I ain't paying for that shit.
how often am I going to be doing that kind of trip? And okay, if I think that this is too risky, then I'll just take my diesel truck with a 500-mile range. It's a great point. It is a great point. Your point is 100% valid. For me, I'm trying to think about how I would actually use the vehicle, and I'm honestly
This is gonna sound like a dick comment, but I'm gonna say it anyways. What's the difference between gambling on an EV like that and gambling on a Dodge transmission?
Well, the gamble is I've already paid the price on the Dodge transmission, so hopefully that gamble is done.
That's a semi-annual investment.
I just have to keep adjusting the bands, and it should be fine.
So I had to.
You're gonna make me. You're bringing back PTSD, man. I changed out that transmission, and there wasn't even anything wrong with it.
No, I think that you're thinking pretty sensibly as far as you want to, especially when you spend that kind of money, you want to really make sure that it's what you want, and what you need it for. I can understand also your argument as far as maintaining something that you're not necessarily using. In your case, it'll probably end up working out all right, but like you said, you had multiple options as far as transportation when it comes to farther trips and everything. And of course, you'll know once they start coming out and we start knowing better about how the EV stuff is going to start working with our infrastructure and everything, then we'll actually have a better handle on it and be able to make a better decision on it. However, with what we're seeing now and just reviewing what other people have experienced with a complete EV vehicle, I would be more hesitant to buy a full EV vehicle right now.
Yeah, I would too.
They depreciate like crazy, and they are not going to last. I mean, you can buy a vehicle today, internal combustion engine. It may be a 25-year-old vehicle, but if it's been sitting in someone's garage and it's got it was barely driven, very low miles on it, You could get in that vehicle and pretty reliably drive that for 100,000 miles or more without any problem. The EVs are not going to be the same because your battery degrades whether you use it or not. So, 20 years, you may be looking at an EV that's 20 years old, and this is going to be in the future. Obviously, I don't know if there's even a single EV that's 20 years old, fully EV, but there might be a couple. But if you're looking at an
Maybe
EV
not
that's,
full EVs.
yeah, that's 20 years old in the future, it may be very low mile. It may only have 20,000 miles on it, but you're still going to have to replace the battery in it. And if it's a lithium ion battery, you better be willing to cough up a fair amount of money. If it's a Tesla, you can't take it to anyone else. They'll if you replace the battery or do any kind of serious work on that car, and they find out about it, which I'm sure that they will, especially if you replace the battery, they will send an update to that car over the internet that will basically degrade your car's ability in certain aspects. They'll remove certain features from the car. Your ability to supercharge at a Tesla supercharger they'll take that away. I think that's one of the first things that they will take away. And to me, that's one of my biggest gripes with Tesla is they refuse to let anyone really work on their vehicles, even if you own it. And they'll take away certain capabilities, and there's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's ways around that. There are still places that are servicing Teslas that aren't Tesla. Their biggest thing is like, it's these people basically loading a tune into a Tesla.
Trying to modify them.
Yeah.
Jailbreak. I jailbroke my car.
Mm-hmm. It's no different than just tuning a internal combustion engine too. You're just changing the current ramp ups and stuff like that to increase performance. It's like overclocking your computer.
Well,
wild.
Yeah.
You put too many clocks in your computer?
Yeah. There's too many clocks in there. It's
too many hands
now.
in it.
Yeah.
Oh man, you got too much time.
Spencer, and
you retimed your computer. I'm sorry.
Computer's like an EcoBoost. I gotta time it every once in a while.
you guys are having too much fun with this. But we also, with this segment, we also wanted to discuss, our thoughts on, and I know that you guys are going to know this better than I do. I think about this from the business side of things, but because I think there's the business side aspect to this next part. But we were discussing are new cars even being built to last these days? And I know you guys have strong opinions on this.
Like when you talk about something brand new, who actually builds a decent car? Like little car that doesn't have your regular sedan, that doesn't have a host of electrical, engine, hybrid problems.
Really,
I can't even think of one.
I'd almost argue that if I have customers come into me all the time asking what I would recommend to purchase as far as a new vehicle goes, a lot of times I'll say buy the warranty. Don't buy the car, buy the warranty. Which at one time it was Hyundai and Kia had a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty on them, and their engines were junk. They have freaking spare engines in the holster in every tech's freaking bay at the dealership. But you know what? If I have 100,000 on a powertrain warranty, fucking send it, fucking load up a third one there, Paco. I need to get moving. I'm not paying for an engine. I said, best time to buy a Kia is brand new and sell it right when the warranty's up, because
that's how I feel with most of these new cars.
That is what you just described is the average BMW owner.
Yeah. I don't know too much about the Slavs, but They anymore that I almost recommend more Toyotas and Hondas. If anybody's looking for a little fuel economy car, for their kid or for a job car or just to drive around with, I have a hard time recommending anytime anybody asks about an Escape, anytime anybody asks for any of those really Escape based vehicles like the Bronco Sports, um, the when it comes to like Chevy and stuff, I can't recommend a Terrain, an Equinox. I really don't know the new ones just all too well yet. Um, the and I really don't often recommend anything from Chrysler. I absolutely do not have a good time with Chryslers at all. But as far as a brand new car, the little kind of box, I almost go Japanese just because they're right now they're holding their own.
Yeah, they seem to be the only ones that last
It's
for a little while.
I hate to say it, I really hate to say it, but anymore
I'm
that the bigger recommendation I make for anybody is to, if you don't want the car payment, go to an older vehicle, just because to avoid that payment or um avoid any of the other headaches that comes with a new car.
gonna blow your mind. You ready? Chrysler only makes one vehicle anymore.
Yep, minivan, town and country.
Minivan.
Mm-hmm.
The Pacifica.
Pacifica.
Yep.
That is
Sorry,
it. That is
town and country. Yeah, sorry, rebranded to Pacifica because the original Pacifica was a POS. let's let's take our longest our brand's best vehicle and rename it after the worst. So
Pacifica. That is the only vehicle left that Chrysler makes.
when I
That
think
is,
I'm
and
trying
I
to
know
remember all the
Ford.
cars that Dodge makes. It's Challenger or not Challenger anymore, right? Charger.
Nope, they're gone. Well,
Charger's
they
gone
brought
too.
the Chargers of the EV now.
Okay.
They're going back allegedly.
Yeah, they've gotten Stellantis has screwed over Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep. Stellantis, the leadership of Stellantis has
We need Lee
absolutely
Iacocca back.
Dodge
has
makes the Charger, the Durango, and the Hornet.
Oh, the Hornet. Yeah, I forgot about the Hornet.
that's sad. I mean, that is absolutely sad. Fiat Chrysler was actually, I think, pushing Mopar in the right direction. The minute it got sold to Stellantis, it just has gone down the crapper. I would not buy a Stellantis vehicle to save my life right now. I would not. I'm with you guys. If you're looking for a car, pretty much the only ones who make them right now are the South Koreans, the Kias, Hyundais, and the Japanese, the Hondas, Toyotas, Nissans.
Yeah,
I
everyone
think the
here
Nissan
is
is
building the
almost
little mini crossovers.
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's the consumer, American consumer has. It's funny, right? Station wagons used to be a big thing. Station wagons went away for sedans.
Ugh.
Now we're moving to these crossovers, which I kind of see as almost like a modern day station wagon, but uglier. And they're all these blobs. They're all blobs. So
They are.
these uncharacteristic blobs, and the average consumer doesn't care about style. I guess they just want something that gets them from point A to point B. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think Mazda for cars. I think you got Mazda, Subaru.
which all Mazda makes is the Mazda 3.
Oh man, that's crazy.
That's the only car, well, other than like the new Miata, but
Yeah,
as far as like a sedan,
we're losing. Sedans are going extinct, and
yeah, because nobody buys them.
yeah, but I think I would still recommend a Toyota, a Camry, or the Lexus version of whatever the Camry is, and I don't know their codes off the top of my head, whether it's IS or an ES or something. Uh, and I think, and I'm a big proponent of, if you're looking for a car, if it's some kind of special edition car, I think that I would be more willing to take a gamble on that car because they kind of see it as their a bit of a halo car to them, and I know that there's a little bit more attention paid to that car. There's a little bit more time and energy put into that car, and I'd be more willing to do that. So I think of like a GR Corolla or a Honda Civic Type R. I would be more willing to take one of those cars over a regular Civic. Um, but that's probably not the consumer that we're discussing.
I don't think either any of us are the average consumer as far as cars go.
No, but I mean, most people are not us. Uh, so that is, I mean, they want to know. So going back to what you were saying, Spencer, or no, Jordan, sorry, your question, like, what would you recommend? It sounds like we'd all at least recommend, if you had to buy a sedan or you really wanted a sedan today, that you would go with one of the Japanese brands.
Yeah, 'cause it's the only one.
But
There's
I also
really
think that they're decent
no
cars.
sedan.
I would buy a Camry today expecting it to go to 150,000 miles pretty easily.
Hmm. I just had a customer that his Honda Accord had 380,000 miles on it. It's a
Wow.
2010, and we ended up putting. He had some timing codes and everything. We ended up putting a camshaft in it because, for some reason, Honda back then just didn't want to make quality camshafts, and this one was actually delaminating and pitting real bad. But we put a new exhaust camshaft in it. We put a timing set in it, and his whole the car underneath was actually pretty solid. His whole reason was, it's lasted me this long for 380 to get to this point, and this is really the only serious problem that we've had with it. He says, I'd rather put the money into it now instead of go buy a new one. And that's what I'm seeing a lot in the past 5 years of being around, is a lot of people just don't trust the new cars. They don't really want to spend the money on a new car, and they're just going to put their money back into an older vehicle, whether it's one that
Mhm.
they've already had, or they go and find a new old one.
We're at the average average car age of vehicles on the road is older now than it ever has been. But I also see society and business, from a business standpoint, things are moving to a disposal society, right? There's that saying that they don't make them like they used to. Things were built to last back in the day. The A lot of people don't want to maintain their vehicles. They just don't. They don't want to deal with it. They just don't see it as something that they want to do. So they want to buy a car that gets them to and from wherever they need to go, and they don't want to have to deal with anything other than that. They want to put gas in it or charge it or whatever, and then that's it. They don't want to change the oil.
Yeah.
They don't want to do anything to that. And I do think that there's a little bit something to be said about the reliability of cars coming down, because I think people are doing less and less maintenance on them. But from a business standpoint, if I am a car manufacturer and people are buying my car expecting it to, and they're not even buying it, they're just leasing the car for 3 to 5 years, and then they want the newest one. Well, why am I going to build a car that's supposed to last 10 years and 200,000 miles when I know that the person who's leasing it only needs it to go 3 to 5 years, and they're going to dump it for the next newest thing? So if that's what most people are doing, you know, I'm not going to waste my energy and time to build a car that is over engineered for what the person needs. I think that's part of the problem.
Well, not only
Yeah.
that, but you're also trying to build a car that you're hearing a lot, like I was just complaining about earlier about how expensive a new car is. You're seeing a lot of manufacturing processes getting cheapened up, which is really, again, we'll go back to the 6.2 Chevy where we're having a lot of manufacturing issues, according to GM. I just the other day, it's not only in new cars, it's in the aftermarket parts that we're installing in these vehicles. I tried to put a blower motor resistor into a car the other day, and it was bad out of the box. We've been seeing we've been seeing remanufactured parts bad out of the box. Um, so there's just a lot of quality control issues, manufacturing wise, that we're seeing. And I think a lot of it is because we're trying to make a cheap car that has the expectation of lasting.
Yeah, Jordan, you and I have had a
Yeah,
lot of discussions about the quality of parts these days and batteries and things like that.
yeah,
Alternators.
everything. I mean, it's hard to get something decent. Um, I was just made me think of the Jeep camshaft issue that they've got going on
Oh, fudge. And the 3.6s
in the 3.6s.
and the 5.7s. Yeah.
Wow, that 5.7's had a cam issue since for 10 years, but the 3.6s, I was trying to find it here, but there was something. It was something like 370,000 camshafts on back order for
I
the
My
was one
God.
of
3.6
them.
Pentastars.
I was in there.
Yep.
You're in the queue.
I
It's
was
yeah,
waiting.
it's to the point of you just keep driving it with an issue until you can potentially get in and have it fixed.
Blow it
And
up.
most of these, and a lot of these are under warranty too. But
How long did you
yeah,
have to wait, Spencer?
I waited 3 months for a
yeah,
intake camshaft.
and that's pretty short.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was so the 3.6s. There's two different designs for camshafts. There's an old one and a new one, and I thought I was I was pretty naive in thinking that they fixed the. It was really prominent in the older style 3.6s. To have those what it was the rocker arms have these little bearings inside of them, and they end up failing and take out the camshaft with them. But I thought they fixed it with the newer generation of 3.6, and we just started getting a big batch of those 3.6s where the rockers are digging into the camshafts again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this will probably be the last on this topic, but in my Toyota Land Cruiser, I went 260,000 miles on the original alternator, and my alternator went out, and I go, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's a good use of the alternator. Got its money's worth. Well, I want to put another quality alternator in it because, for one, Toyota put the alternator on the bottom of the engine, so that's great, uh, and fun to
Standard.
get out. I like it when it's right on top. It's simple. But I buy a Denso.
I think you're
I
about
go and
30 years too late for that.
I know. I go and buy a Denso alternator, which good, that is Toyota's brand, and I throw this Denso in there. I got maybe 25,000 extra miles out of it, or maybe 30,000 miles on it before that alternator took a crap. And yeah, so here I am putting another alternator in it in just a matter of, you know, uh, 30,000 miles. And I decided, instead of going and buying another remanufactured or Denso, I went and pulled one out of a junkyard Land Cruiser and said, I'm just going to I know that these ones at least were built better, and I'll see how much I can get out of this one. And we'll see how long, if that gamble works out. But for a lot lower money, and what I thought is I could probably get another at least 150 to 100,000 miles out of this used uh,
Yeah.
alternator. I'll let you know how it goes in
Yeah, let me know how that goes.
30,000 miles.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as like the the complexity of these new vehicles, and we see a lot more problems with them now. And everyone talks about, oh yeah, my 90s Toyota ran forever. Okay. Yeah, it made 74 horsepower. Now we're making 370 horsepower out of the same size of engine.
Mm-hmm.
So
It requires low
but
maintenance.
that's what the people want.
You got to give them what they want.
You got to give the people what they want. Now, the standard is have power to get out of its own way. If you make a new vehicle now that has 100 horsepower and you can't merge onto traffic or onto the highway with traffic, nobody's going to buy it. And even if it's somebody who's just buying a car to putz around and they don't even care how fast it goes, they're still not going to buy it. So every time they bump the typical vehicle power levels up and add new features, everybody has to follow suit. Otherwise they get left behind.
Right. Capitalism. All right. So with that, we're going to roll into today's freedom topic, which is open carry and open carrying firearms. And so I got a definition from the United States Concealed Carry Association, which is open carry refers to the practice of carrying a firearm in public where it is fully or partially visible to others, whether in a holster or not. So this is distinct from concealed carry, which involves hiding the firearm from plain view. Now, currently, there are 46 states that allow open carry in some sort of form, and there are 4 states that it is just not acceptable. The 4 states that prohibit it are California, surprise, surprise. Florida, this one caught me by surprise. Florida prohibits it. Illinois, sorry, Spencer, and New York, and not a state, but it's also prohibited, is Washington, D.C. In going back to the surprise of that, which is Florida, Florida's open carry ban was struck down by a state appeals court in September of 2025, so just a couple months ago. They determined that it was ruled unconstitutional under the Second Amendment, and so I think that is going to be struck down here soon by the Florida State Supreme Court. So Florida will probably soon become an open carry state again. A lot of changes. Here's what I thought is interesting. There are different flavors of open carry. There is the permissive open carry state, which is you can just carry a firearm openly without a permit. It's just, you can do it. As long as you can legally own a firearm, which, depending on the state, could be 18 to 21, depending on what kind of firearm you're carrying. There's the licensed open carry or not addressed states. So this means that you have to get a license to open carry, or there's nothing in the state statutes that says anything about open carry. Then there's the anomalous open carry states, which the open carry may be legal under state law, but differing local laws may make it limited in certain aspects. What comes to my mind is Colorado is generally an open carry state. However, you cannot open carry in Denver County. So that's an example of that. And then there's the non-permissive open carry states like California and New York. It's just not allowed. So states that you could open carry without a permit, there is 31 of them, which is pretty good. You have Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Delaware, Idaho, God bless Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Mississippi, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Mexico, that was surprising to me, North Carolina, go Tar Heels, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington State. Probably going to change that soon. If the current legislation has its way. West Virginia, Wisconsin, and the cowboy state of Wyoming. The anomalous anomalous open carry states, which I already mentioned: Colorado, Michigan, Missouri, Nebraska, and Oregon. And so once again, those are states that it is generally legal, but local restrictions might apply. And then these are open carry states where it's just not even addressed in the state statutes. So are you legally allowed to open carry? Are you not? It's kind of anomalous. Or, well, sorry, not anomalous. It's not necessarily clear. And that is Kentucky, Georgia, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, North Dakota, Rhode Island, and South Carolina. And so my thoughts before I turn this over to you guys is, if you are thinking about open carrying in your state or in another state that you're traveling to, know what the local requirements are. And there's a lot of good resources online for you to do that. The United States Concealed Carry Association, or USCCA, is a great resource available for you to try and find out what is legally required in those states. But ultimately, open carry, it's not very common these days.
Nope. I don't know. I don't know that I would ever really open carry other than while hunting. I think it just, the state of the world we live in just draws attention to you.
It does.
I'm not really one to request attention.
Yeah. No, I don't think. Man, it's not the Wild West anymore. But like Jordan said, it's a real good attention seeker. For anybody to carry on your hip anymore. I remember being in Colorado and being in a diner at freaking 2 o'clock in the morning and seeing a guy with a trench coat and a side piece just hanging out, and thinking, my only thought at that time was, I hope there's nothing wrong with that guy. Why? There's no reason to show it off. With the exception of trying to upgrade your image.
Yeah.
That's a terrible way to put it, but you're in a sense, what I'm thinking of when you're open carrying is, you're telling me you're not secure enough to hold it on your person and not show it off. You're trying to set a precedence as you're walking into a room that you're the biggest badass out there, and no one's going to mess you with in your boomstick. But it's really, in today's society, it's really not called for. It's to each their own, and I hope everybody expresses the way that they choose and want to, because this is America. But I in the same sense, I'm free to think whatever the fuck I want to too, and it's not very highly of you if you're going to walk into a public space with a firearm in the open.
I think open carry should be allowed in every state under the Second Amendment. It should be 100% allowed. You shouldn't it shouldn't require a license. If you are legally allowed to own firearms or buy firearms, you should be allowed to open carry it if you want.
Yeah, I don't think either one of us is saying you shouldn't be allowed to.
Right.
I'm just saying personal preference.
I think we're all in agreement
I
on that.
never will unless we're
Right.
hunting or something.
You let your freak flag fly, bro. Go ahead. If you want to show off your hardware, show off your hardware. Just know that I'm thinking other things about you. It's not, wow, look at that guy's badass 9. Oh, I wish I was him.
Oh, that's a factory clock 19. Oh my God.
To play devil's advocate to you, Spencer, I would argue that guy that you saw at 2 a.m., I would argue that when that gun caught your attention, it had that desired effect that the guy was going for, which you second guess, messing with that guy, or you don't, and that's what it does. It does there's something to be said about a show of force. When I used to carry openly in the Navy, when I was doing quarterdeck watch on the ships, like part of that is a show of force. If people want to come mess with you, they see that you have a firearm. Now, is concealed carry smarter? In most cases, I think it applies, but there's something to be said about the show of force and making people second guess it. But you can be very dumb about doing it. If you don't have a retention holster, if you have just like a Kydex slide in, slide out holster, I have seen videos of people getting their guns taken from them when they're not paying attention because there's no retention clip on that. There's no snap. There's no nothing that someone would have to do a press or something to get that gun out of your holster. And I've seen people that are trying to be Billy Badass, and they get their gun taken from them, and now you're double effed. And in that case, yes, it looks stupid. When I walk my dog every morning, I walk Mauser. We're in the dark, and in the winters, I carry openly, because last year someone saw a mountain lion in the neighborhood. So I carry for that instance. Do I think I'm going to get attacked by someone while I'm walking my dog? No. But if there's a big kitty that wants to come play, I want to be able to say hello to that kitty in a very loud and 40 caliber way.
Yeah, that kind of goes with like the hunting thing too. I don't know. I think if you're somebody who's just going to open carry for the attention and whatnot, depending on the situation, if somebody's intending to do harm in an establishment or something like that, and you're open carrying, the show of force thing could apply, but I think it also makes you the number one target. It turns
does.
you into, and you're not expecting it. It turns you into number one target. All it is saying, hey, take this guy out first.
Mm-hmm.
And then we won't have any problems anywhere else. So,
but you are the target because you are seen as a threat. So there's, if there is someone that wants
if you're
to cause
concealed carrying, nobody knows that you are the background
no, but
threat in their instance.
You can still get sucker punched if you're concealed carrying and be knocked out.
Right. Yeah. But they're not going to target you first, knowing that you have a pistol on you.
Modern day samurai. You gotta carry.
Yeah, we should go back to carrying, long swords with us. That's where England's going.
Concealed carry is my dagger.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on open carry?
Go ahead. Just
all right.
Be careful.
It's time to go shopping. Jordan steals, deals, and disasters. What have you got for us this week?
We are going to look at an 86 F-250. Look at this gem of rust and shitty paint, and there's no broken glass though. I do too. I drive this every day.
Yeah. So for those that are just listening to the podcast, this is 86 F-250 single cab long bed. It's got like a 6-inch lift on it.
I don't know that it's you can't really say what lift it's got on it. We've got Super Duty axles out of a newer pickup. Allegedly it's off of a 2016 Super Duty. So
what?
It's got a winch bumper.
No, there's no way. It's got leaf springs.
It's got leaf springs.
It's got a worn winch. It used to be a sky blue, but now it's mostly a patina look. with a little bit of sky blue left.
Yeah. She looks good.
It does. It's got a certain appeal to it. I would daily drive this truck. I think it's awesome.
Yep. Up until that 351 blows up.
Yep. And then I got a spare for that.
Well, is this a Cleveland or is it a Windsor?
It's a Windsor.
Oh, okay.
It's a Windsor. I have a Windsor out of a 86 F-250.
Boy, it's built right in.
So we got some good. The interior is old,
Yeah.
as to be expected. Got some rust on the floorboards, but for got an asking price of $8,000 on this one.
Now I don't think with that asking price, I don't think it comes with those wheels and tires. Is what it
It
looks like.
does.
It does.
He's got a note that says it. He's got the stock wheels and tires, so you can put it on a trailer.
Ah, okay.
I like the style of dent sides. They're
Yep.
she's not dent sides, bull noses. I think I used to not like these trucks at all. This used to be probably my worst looking truck in my mind, but ever
You
since
used
I
to
got
mock me
old,
for it.
I
You used to mock me for it all the time.
back in high school, this was not my cup of tea, but they have easily grown to one of my favorites. So
Yeah. And this thing he did clear coat it with some shine juice.
What does that mean?
So I don't know.
there's a couple companies that have like a wipe on clear coat. But I
Meant
would
for like this.
that is has a pretty good looking truck. $8,000. If again, every time I'm gonna argue that everything's overpriced anymore, but who isn't gonna complain?
Yeah.
That's probably a fairly decent price for what we're looking at. I'd probably talk him down another grand or two, but he's starting out at the right price. So
Yeah, I think we might need to go on a road trip and go pick this thing up, and I'm gonna have to get on my hands and knees and beg my wife to let me bring another truck home.
This would be a good one. So from what I can see, it looks like it's got 99 to 04 front axle.
yep,
That's
The
an
way it's
upgrade.
sitting.
it is an upgrade for sure.
It is.
But is
Though
it again?
I'm not against the Ford twin traction beam front ends like a lot of people are.
Go replace the bushings in it. And
Yeah,
let me
I was
know
gonna
after
say,
that.
go replace everything on it on multiple trucks back to back to back, and you will
And
change your mind in about 30 seconds.
That's fair. That's fair. I think I'll just call you guys and have you guys do it.
We're booked up. Sorry.
I'm busy that day.
Come
Yeah, I
on, give
plan
me
on
the
being
buddy
sick
discount.
then.
I think I'm going to be out of town that day.
Okay.
No, that's a pretty decent truck. I really like it.
I think it's a decent deal
It's a pretty
to
decent
where
deal.
I want it.
Yeah, I want it. I want it as well.
Of course, these are your
I do
standard.
have
Go ahead.
I do have a 6-liter Power Stroke motor, trans, and T-case.
Go 6-liter bullnose. I will say
We
when
did
you're
a
going to look
7.3.
at these older Fords, that your standard rust issues are going to be your cab corners, your rocker panels. You're going to see a lot of rust issues as far as the back, wheel arch
Wheel
on the
well.
beds, but also right your core supports and your right at the back side of the front fender wheel arch is also a real bad rust area. Those are a lot of if you're going to look at a style truck like this, any older Ford, those are going to be your main areas you're going to want to look as far as any kind of rust compromising it.
Yeah.
Where's this one located?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Which it's probably seen salt.
Yeah. Probably.
but it sure has a paint job like it's been out in Arizona.
Right.
Yeah, it's cool.
Don't know what the full history is on it, but I'd love to see it in person and drive it home.
I know. Why isn't it 15 minutes from me?
Nothing good is ever 15 minutes away. So
A nice pick.
All right, Spencer. What's your 2 cents? What good
Today's
life
2
advice do you
cents.
got?
Today's 2 cents for you. Brought to you by some older wisdom that I've learned a long time ago. It's for all of us out there, we're just trying to get through life. You just need to stay humble and walk tall with a big stick. Just if you want to show off the big stick, that's your own prerogative, but it ain't very humble. And that is your 2 cents for the day.
I like it.
I do like it too. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up episode 2 of Fuel Fired Freedom, the Triple F podcast. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Throw some comments in. Let us know what you think. If there's topics you want us to discuss, we're happy to do so. We love ideas. We love thoughts. We can be found on TikTok, the Tac Tac, Instagram, all the works, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. So give us a listen, give us a comment, give us a rating. If you really like us, we're gonna keep coming out with these episodes. So smash that subscribe button so you know what's coming out, and have yourself a fine day.